M&A Advisor is very pleased right now to be joined by Venkat Swaminathan, Managing Director, M&A and Strategy for Deloitte. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate you guys having me.
Talk to us a little bit about what you do with Deloitte.
Absolutely. I'm part of Deloitte's mergers and acquisitions practice, and I have over 13 years experience doing large global M&A deals, both before the deal is signed as well as after a deal is signed. About 70% of the deals that I have done have been during the due diligence phase, helping financial buyers as well as strategic buyers understand some of the pitfalls and the assets they're trying to purchase. And about 30% of my work is in the post-merger integration space and divestiture space, helping companies maximize the benefits that they've just negotiated.
Much of our seminar is about deals with China right now too. Let's talk a little bit about inbound and outbound negotiations when we talk about M&A.
Absolutely. The first question that any financial or strategic buyer with financial capital has to ask is, how do I best allocate that portfolio? What are the sectors I choose? Where should I invest in building capability? Is it for market access? Is it for some type of competitive advantage? And helping them think through that M&A strategy is a core part of what I do. Once they have decided on a particular asset to buy, they also need to figure out what are the pitfalls in that particular asset. What are some of the opportunities that presents as well as some of the challenges. And we do that as part of our due diligence, both on the strategic front, the commercial front, financial, legal, and operational front. And once we've done all of that, then you actually sign the deal. And then the real work starts of actually maximizing the value from this deal. And you have to make sure that the synergies that are promised or the divestiture costs that are incurred are within the cost envelopes that were negotiated during the deal. And what we actually want to do is make sure each and every one of these deals lives up to the promise that the deal presented when it was signed.
Well, of course, that is the hope and that's the strategy. What percentage of deals would you say succeed or fail and why?
That's an excellent question. In our experience, over 70% of most deals fail to live up to their potential.
70%?
70%.
Why is it that high?
There are a number of challenges across the way. Sometimes companies pay too much for these assets. Whatever they do to execute can never live up to that potential. Sometimes companies miss big pieces of information in due diligence that should have been found out, that they live to pay the price after the deal is signed. And even when they get those two really hard questions answered, execution is a challenge because the change imperative sometimes isn't there. Companies neglect the acquisitions, don't feed them the right investments. Sometimes there is a huge clash of cultures and the two entities never really merge and integrate as one. Whatever be the reason, we know that there are ways past each one of these challenges, and we pride ourselves in being the right advisor, the trusted advisor to our clients to help them overcome all of these challenges.
Let's talk a little bit about China's role in the future of finance.
Absolutely. China has been a force to reckon with in the world of M&A. When you look at China 5 years back, they weren't really a player. Over the last 5 years, Chinese outbound deals have grown at over 20% year to year. That's huge. And the amount of financial capital, both with state-owned enterprises as well as private capital, is really shaking things up in the M&A world. And they're going to be a force to stay and to be reckoned with.
What about inbound?
There is a lot of inbound interest in China, driven by the Belt and Road initiatives and the investments that the Chinese government is putting forth. A lot of companies, especially in the infrastructure region, as well as high-tech companies, are making strategic investments in China. There is also a huge focus on the Chinese domestic market. China has long been an exporter of goods, but finally their population is being a big consumer as well. And companies are making strategic investments to tap and get access to that market. I see, even though this year has been a little bit of a breather, I see a lot of potential for China going forward.
So you're excited looking ahead towards 2018
Absolutely.
and beyond?
I'm bullish. There will be regulatory challenges both on the Chinese government side, as they want to be careful where the FDI flows are happening, as well as on the inbound side with US and other economies trying to protect their national interests. But as evidenced by Trump's recent visit to China, there's a lot of interest in the region, and I can see nothing but cooperation between the two countries going forward.
Venkat, thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for being with M&A Advisor.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.